He also did a tweet similar to that earlier. He says, Republicans are doing so well in early voting and at the polls, and now this, quote, bomb stuff happens and the momentum greatly slows. News not talking politics. Very unfortunate. What is going on? Republicans go out and vote. You were talking about, Hugh, that you thought this could actually galvanize Republicans. I have to tell you, I ran into a slice of voter. It was very acute in Arizona, of all the places, who seemed to be, like some of the president's policies, not like the rhetoric. And that's the voter I'm curious, Geoff Bennett, how they react to this in 11 days.
It's a good question. I mean, the president is nothing if not transparent, right? He views everything through a political lens, even what you could cast as an assassination plot of at least, you know, 2 former presidents and a host of the president's political adversaries. And he's saying that this bomb stuff, the coverage of it, has distracted from the Republicans' messaging. So yeah, I'm not entirely sure how this will play, but he seems to think that casting this as a fight with the media works for him.
Yeah, this is an interesting little exchange. I brought up Arizona. Here's Martha McSally, sort of asked about this earlier today. Take a listen.
Can we please talk about the things that matter to most voters instead of repeating the Arizona Democrat Party press releases? It's ridiculous, honestly. Do you have anything to talk about, like the caravan or job opportunities?
How would you, Stephanie, play this in the last 11 days if you were working for a Democratic candidate? How would you talk about this issue with voters? Or how would you advise candidates to talk about it?
I think I would talk about this as a vacuum of leadership, and we need to send real leaders to Washington, and an argument for change. And I think what you can see from what you just said showed with McSally is they're desperate to get back to the immigration issue.
It was working.
The president, I guarantee you, he's going to try that at his political rally again tonight. You know, for them, there's a boogeyman. Donald Trump has set the tone. You win politically by creating a boogeyman, by running with the politics of fear. If I were working on a Democratic campaign, I would talk about, well, you know, there's a better way to run this country. We don't have to demonize everybody to get what we want. And that means good health care, protecting pre-existing conditions, new and better jobs, bringing the country together.
Pivot back to issues.
I would not ignore the question about the vacuum of leadership. And if I were running against McSally or somebody else, that they're marching in lockstep with Donald Trump. That might rally their base. However, those bases are set. Those are locked.
Hugh,
to the extent you can pull anybody over to your side, you got to demonstrate some leadership.
There is a suburban voter out there. I think it's a white, college-educated, independent man. Okay, there that sort of didn't like how Catholics treated and started to shift in one way, but they've been hearing a lot at home that, oh yeah, I don't like that tone either, and I don't like that. How would you talk to that voter if you were Martha McSally, knowing that the tone may be an issue?
I would do exactly what happened on my radio show this morning. People who don't show up. Secretary Pompeo, Secretary Azar show up to talk about China, both trade and the threat that they pose. Azar to talk about prescription drug prices being based off of a European mixed model. I would go back to the issues on which Trump is delivering and winning: the economy, the economy, the economy. And I would hope that the Democrats do, as we came into this show, Nicole was talking to Reverend Al about impeachment. I love the impeachment message. Talk about impeachment, because that suburban voter, they don't want 2 years of this. They do not want this at all.
I don't think you see Democratic candidates out there in these competitive districts talking about impeachment.
It is a cable news phenomenon on some panels.
And it's not something that is part of the Democratic platform. However, you know, there is a federal investigation going on. Eventually, we're going to have to talk about whether the president is going to be indicted or something worse.
He's not stopping any of these rallies. And you're going to, I mean, it is going to be, and it is going to be fascinating. He's going to say something at every one of these rallies that is going to trigger a reaction. It's like, how could you do that here?
Right.
Is he going to run towards that flame or run away from that flame?
I think so. He's talking about the caravan because he thinks it best crystallizes the cultural pitch that he's making to his supporters about this whole immigration issue writ large. And then to your point, he's trying to reach the establishment Republicans who aren't as motivated by or driven by his cultural pitch by talking about this middle-class tax cut, which he seems to sort of invented out of thin air, but now he's saying it's going to be a resolution. Well, a resolution does not legislation make. But he wants Republican voters to go to the polls with a tax cut on their mind.
All right, guys. A very lively panel and a very rambunctious one. Thank you for doing that, being disagreeing without